They'll lynch you, but he did, and I think he lasted about a week and a half.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the West Ham Network. This is a live on a Saturday evening, and we're getting some good news coming through from some reputable sources. The man at the back post, Fabrizio Romano, has just announced over the last few minutes that Jarrod Bowen has signed a new long-term contract with our beloved West Ham. The goosebumps are kicking around because this is huge. This is massive. Of course, this has not been announced by West Ham themselves, but the reputable source coming from Fabrizio Romano, the exclusive coming out of that was that Jarrod Bowen has signed a new long-term contract with West Ham. This is huge news. This is huge because you're talking about one of the most informed players in Europe right now. 5 goals scored in the Premier League, and he has also been involved in 1 assist in the Premier League and another assist in the Europa League. He's been involved in 7 goal involvements this season alone. On top of that, he has been recalled to the England setup, and it has been massively deserved in his West Ham career. And if you don't know this, this is me bringing you this stats right now. 166 appearances for West Ham, 45 goals and 33 assists. The geezer has been involved in 78 goal involvements whilst being at West Ham, scoring 32 of those goals in the Premier League with 28 assists in the Premier League as well. This season alone, he's been heavily involved in scoring loads of goals for West Ham, and long may that continue. This is very, very good news for West Ham because this is showing that potentially he is believing in the project that is currently being built at West Ham. If a player's disgruntled and not happy, they're going to show that by potentially not signing on the dotted line and letting their feelings be known to the backroom staff, to the management, and to the owners. But by him signing this contract means that he's committed to the club longer term. We don't have the finer details about what's happening with the Jarrod Bowen deal, but this will probably take him to being West Ham's best paid player, and deservedly so. Deservedly so. He deserves it with an abundance. He is 26 years old, so bringing him and keeping him at the club and keeping that long-term unity there with West Ham is huge. It really is, and it shows a statement of intent. It really does. Other clubs, of course, would be sniffing around a player like Jarrod Bowen. Who wouldn't be? We've had it since we've signed him from day dot. And he goes ahead and scores goals. He's effective. I've just read his stats to you in the Premier League for West Ham. So why would other clubs not sniff around him? But, you know, he's at home at West Ham. He's at home in his family life in London or in Essex. And things are going well for him. And he's with the European champions, champions of Europe. We know what we are. We know what we are. We know what we are. Champions of Europe. We know what we are. And then you go ahead and sell questionably your best player. And you recruit well in the summer and you bring in quality and you have a start to the season that you do, that we have had so far. And this should really give everyone a bit of a morale boost on top of the boost that we've already felt at West Ham. This is huge. Honestly, it really is. I'm absolutely buzzing and I can't wait for the official announcement to come in from West Ham. I've always been a bit edgy when it comes to ITK news, etc. But Fabrizio has obviously had to go ahead to announce that this deal has been signed, and it's inevitable that we'll hear in due course that West Ham announce it themselves. And it's going to be interesting to see what David Moyes decides to do with the Jarrod Bowen situation playing at West Ham as well, because a lot over the last few weeks we've seen him featuring through the middle as a number 9. Is he going to potentially look at doing that? We all know that David Moyes has an eye for adjusting a player's ability and maybe their positioning in the game. And I could see him potentially switching eventually over time into potentially a centre forward. He's done it with so many of West Ham players, current and old and present. And I wonder if he is going to be that featured guy. And I could see a natural position come from him, a transition going to him from there. If you think about what happened with Arnautovic, Antonio, just to name a few players. And because he's high impact in scoring goals, as much more than what it is in assisting goals, then if you feed a player who's scoring goals in from behind, in from a deeper position, then, you know, in theory, it should be goals, goals, goals. Again, it's tough not to get carried away, but David Moyes does like turning wide players into central attackers. And I think that's something he could do. David Moyes said previously when he was signed from Hull, I was phoning the people I know there. They said he plays on the right, in the middle, but he doesn't like it on the left. So when he came, he wasn't ready and he was still getting used to the Premier League. But he is now sharper, quicker, and he can ride challenges, something that we see a lot with Paqueta. He's still not ready to be potentially a centre forward, but there's history here of Marko Arnautovic from a winger to a centre forward, Mickey Antonio, and it hasn't been an easy market to find a centre forward. This is what David Moyes said in the past. What he can do is score, and can Jarrod be a number 9? We are still sort of manufacturing stage to see if we think that can happen. And I think he can. I genuinely think he can, and he's deservedly got his call back up to the England squad. And the thing is, as much as West Ham fans potentially don't want him, or some West Ham fans don't want him to make the step into the England international stage, again, because we're all concerned and you know, being stung quite a lot by injuries coming back from that. That's what a lot of these players fight for, is want to be involved in the biggest tournaments in the world. So long may that continue, that he gets called up and through that, you know, believes, well, I don't need to move to any other club. Why would I? I believe in what we're doing here, 100%. Let me jump into the comments and see what everyone is saying. Is there a release clause? I don't know. I couldn't care less. Probably, but who knows? Who knows? Yes. Thank God. Spill the beans. That's great news from Simon, Paul and William. Good news. Any details on the terms yet? Not yet, James. That will all come out in due course, but I would assume he will become West Ham's record earner. I can't see why he wouldn't be, for considering how involved he has been at the club and how influential he's been at the club as well. He's been extremely influential if you think about the final, where he scored the goal against Fiorentina as well, that took us to the next stage. But this will probably make him the best paid player at West Ham as well. Ian says, brilliant. How much is the sell-on clause though? Either way, who cares? He's a West Ham player. Jay says, you're joking. Bowen signed a new deal. Wow, didn't see it happening. Usual Suspect says, good news. Bet Tim has sorted it out. Harry Page. Well, why would he leave though? Like, you know, the trajectory of West Ham right now is looking good. And he's a top dog in his family life. Listen, don't underestimate the situation of players having a really settled family life. There's one player we should know all about that, and that is Declan Rice, who left because I only went to London and chose not to go up north because he wanted to be settled where he is, you know, a newborn kid. I mean, Jarrod Bowen's not just got a newborn kid, he's got 2 newborns in twins as well. So that's going to play a key element in it as well. Barry says, I'm really pleased he signed a contract. He's not a player we want to lose or sell for a bum price. Brilliant from KNG. Please let this be true. No silly strings. Well, yeah, but it's a really strong, reputable source. Clearly, the geezer, Danny Dyer's had a word from Stato. Yes, it probably has, mate. Thank God this broke during halftime of the Red Silver Shootout Texas here as the States. I can enjoy it in real time. Without his goals, he would be nothing. Is this a 5-year deal? It's a long-term deal. West Ham will probably tie him up till at some point in his 30s. Remember, only a couple of years left on his contract initially. Let's hope his heart's in it with West Ham and stays for many years to come. His heart's in it, mate. I don't think anyone could doubt his heart. Mark Willis, that's fantastic news. Great news from Ronald Pickering. Hopes a long term without a dopey sell-on clause. Anton, this is your world exclusive. He's not a number 9 in my opinion. I think he can play all the way throughout that forward line, middle or right. I think it's a really nice dynamic, and I think what you've got with a player like Kudus is another offering that can go out on the right but also can play through the top, so you can constantly switch the two. I think it's actually quite exciting prospect between the two of those players. Just need to find out about how the buyout clause. Great news, though. I mean, do we need to find out about the buyout clause? Really, is that a big deal? I don't want them playing up front. All right, Anton, it's nice for us, and Bowen and the team can only get better now, and just what we want to hear before Newcastle game. Thanks, Anton. Nice one. So these are funny. Where are we? You happy about Bowen being in the England squad? Do you know what? It's what these players want. I think if we were in the same situation, you'd want to be recognised at the highest level. I think selfishly, because we're probably most of us here club over country than country over club, then selfishly we want to protect our players. So I think that he does want to be at this club, and I think I as part of that we have to accept we've got international players and they want to play at that level. So yeah, this is huge, and I think it's a huge signing because it means that he believes in the project about what's happening right now, but also what's happening in the future. Therefore, conversations have obviously taken place about what happens come January. That's also another massive thing for us as well, and moving into the summer. And it looks like a certain David Boyes is going to be hanging around a little bit longer, to much people's love or not. Oh God, I don't even know what you're talking about. Jay says, great news. Well done, Bowen. We are the team. Come on, you Irons. Hope this is true. Fantastic if true. Remember what we said, though. This is coming from reputable sources, i.e. Fabrizio Romano. If any of you don't know, this is coming from Fabrizio Romano, breaking the news that Bowen has signed a new long-term contract. And when he puts his neck on the line for such a statement like this, then I'd be really surprised if it wasn't true, obviously, as well. His heart's being in it will show if a Liverpool or Arsenal come sniffing around him. But he's in it, mate. Don't you worry about that. Robert Singleton, there you go. Paqueta is £85 million, so I would assume it's a minimum of that if it's like going 100 given today's market as well. Arguably a statement signing, 1,000,000%, 1,000,000%. So important that at least one of our top players are not looking to jump ship. I don't think many, to be honest, are. But equally, though, when some clubs come calling, I think there's always going to be that difficult element of persuading them to stay. I think what helps us is the fact that Bowen has settled into life in London and the surrounding areas, and he wants to stay at the club. And he's won some silverware at the age of 26. You know, the rest of the things is oyster. And for the first time, West Ham are potentially paying possibly Jarrod Bowen to be the highest paid earner at West Ham, and it's the right player being the highest earner at West Ham rather than the wrong player. We've gone through so many times when we talk about Chicharito being the highest earner, Sebastian Haller being the highest earner, Marko Arnautovic being the highest earner, but you need to reward the players who are week in and week out performing at the highest level, and this is Jarrod Bowen. Love for Bowen in my heart. It shows how massive we are when we have so many international players in the squads. Fad didn't mention a release clause when he did for Bruno of Newcastle. Just being hopeful. What a statement that is, though. Would love it to tie down Paqueta and remove that clause. To be honest with you, tying down Paqueta, I think you're going to need to keep something in there to make the team happy. I'm just hoping that Paqueta is buzzing about the faith that West Ham have put into him as a player, and he's come into West Ham, won himself a bit of silverware as well. And if our trajectory keeps heading the way it is, then it's a positive thing. But this is positive news going into the Newcastle game tomorrow. This is great news, but hope we could get a good for pack as well. If this is true, it's a nice Christmas present. Early one it is. It's not just a nice Christmas present, Black Country Hammer. It's a nice birthday present. My birthday's on Monday, so there you go. He is potentially signed and sealed and wrapped it up, and with a little bow on top. And I'll open up the little bow, and I'll open up the little box, and with a little picture of Jarrod Bowen signing his little contract. Happy birthday, Anson. That's exactly what this is. John Hicks says he now knows we're the best team in the Prem as well. Only if we win the Europa League can we get Paqueta to stay, in my opinion. I'm not necessarily too sure about that, because if this thing keeps going on and on and on, it could be up to 18 months. So I think we've got him for a little bit longer than what a lot of people do think we do. he does deserve to be the highest paid player. He's literally one of the best players West Ham could hold on to with Paqueta. And kudos from Barry as well. Black Country Hammer says, happy birthday, mate. It's not today. It is on Monday, but thank you very much for your kind words. There you go, everyone. Jarrod Bowen, that man there. Can you see him right there? See that guy there? See that geezer that I'm looking at just now? He's signed a new contract, a new long-term contract at West Ham, according to sources close to the club. And a reputable source called Fabrizio Romano has announced that as well. So buzz about that. Keep your faith, keep your system on the go. Join us in about half an hour's time where you'll start to get my Richards preview for the Newcastle game, and then tomorrow all the match day content on top of that. But guess what? Jarrod Bowen's on fire and he's doing the rest, and he really is. Did West Ham leak the story about Paqueta's betting investigation to keep him in the squad? Who knows, Joel? Who knows? But I'm going to head because it's a Saturday night. I'm going to go and spend some time with the kids and the family. But just thought I'd come on live and bring you the news about Jarrod Bowen signing a new long-term contract at West Ham. Absolutely buzzing. Happy birthday for Monday, Antonio Meldis' granddaughter's birthday on Monday too. She'll be 9. Brilliant English folk, and hopefully she has an amazing day. If only I was 9 again. If only I was 9. I'm actually the big 40 on Monday, so a bit scary to think that I'm even there. But yeah, here we go. Long live the great song we've got for our Bowen. No, absolutely, mate. I've talked to the players and they agreed to give you 3 points tomorrow. Buzzing about that. But listen, happy birthday to your granddaughter. Please pass that on from me as well. Listen, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Join us in about half an hour. You'll see a preview coming out from Richard. Tomorrow, all the match day stuff, content coming out to you at the same time as well. West Ham is still a team of growth, 3 to 4 players short of top 4, but we are a massive. Great show. Thanks, Anton. No worries, my friend Adam. This is great news from Hammers Mikey. Seriously, never thought it would happen. Thanks for the update, Anton. Happy birthday. Thank you very much. Take it easy, everyone. And of course, come on, you beautiful irons. Irons!